fans have been eagerly waiting for Jake Paul and Tommy Fury's face-off ever since they called off the initial match last year. Previously, the fight was cancelled due to Tommy's injuries, and unfortunately, the match has now been cancelled once more. This time, there's a different reason behind it. In this video, we'll tell you exactly why Tommy pulled out of the fight again. Let's hop right in. First off, why did Tommy Fury pull out of the brawl at the last minute? Fans of the duo won't get to see the pair go against each other, at least for now. Tommy Fury was all set to face off Jake Paul in 2022, months after the duo was originally set to face each other. However, it was recently reported that the famous YouTuber will now have a new opponent. So, what's the reason behind Tommy canceling the brawl this time? Well, according to Fury, he settled to pull out of the fight as he was unable to come to the US due to his visa conditions. He said that there are some restrictions on his visa that hinder him from boarding a plane for the US. To clarify his side of the story, Tommy then opened up about this development via his Instagram account. The 23-year-old is still willing to fight off Jake Paul in another neutral country, where the pair are allowed to enter without restrictions. He further added that he's ready to take on the fight at any day, place, or time. Well, except for the USA. The British professional boxer then went on to clarify that visa-related matters are serious, and he's able to understand this, which makes it more difficult for him to enter the United States. The face-off was originally set to take place in Florida's Amalie Arena, but after the delay, the venue was revised. The announcement for the current fight was made back in June, and now the awaited Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul battle is scheduled to take place at the iconic Madison Square Garden. Previously, Fury had been given a deadline up until Wednesday to sort out his visa restrictions, and the British boxer failed to adhere to this deadline. Next up, what did Tommy say to justify his statement? Fury later took to Instagram to further address the cancellation. The 23-year-old said he's disappointed and mortified about the restrictions he's facing with his arrival in the USA. According to him, this was something he and his team never saw coming. Fury's exact words were, "We never anticipated this." He then went on to say that he takes this matter very seriously and is working hard to get it resolved. The boxer assured his fans that his lawyers were working day and night to resolve the matter, and they've made quite some progress by now. Last but not least, Fury assured his fans that he's still very confident that one day he'll get to face off Jake Paul in an American venue. Up next, has Tommy previously highlighted his visa issue? Yes, Fury made a mention of this problem back in June. At that time, the professional boxer went into full detail regarding his visa restrictions. Tommy previously arrived at a London airport to board a flight for a US press conference. During the arrivals process, he was notified that his electronic system for travel authorization had been declined. He then explained what happened afterwards. Tommy got pulled into one side of the waiting room by Homeland Security. According to them, it's unlikely that he will board an American flight anytime soon. When Fury questioned the restriction, Homeland Security told him that he was already well aware of the reasons, and he apparently knows it all. And now, how did Jake Paul respond to all of this? After Fury canceled the fight, Paul didn't hold back with his response and even found himself a new opponent within a few hours. The former YouTuber took to his Instagram account to announce that the show must go on and he'd be facing a new opponent. The new opponent was revealed, and it's Hasim Rahman Jr. After he made the announcement, Jake Paul didn't spare Tommy Fury and went into full dominatrix mode. On July 7th, Paul tweeted that Fury would receive a termination notice from the MVP. According to Paul, this notice was issued due to repeated cancellations from Fury's representatives. MVP also weighed in on the situation, and according to them, they tried everything they could to get Tommy to the US, but he was always late in responding to them. Jake then tweeted, "Fury went into hiding." Since then, he's mentioned Fury 4 times on his Twitter account, and he hasn't refrained from shaming Tommy for the cancellation. Paul's tweets made it pretty clear that he wasn't chill about the situation at all, and we can't blame the 25-year-old. He added that the game won't be postponed as the entire country is anticipating seeing him in the boxing ring once again. Even on social media, thousands of users are siding with Jake and Tommy and getting trolled. And honestly, we completely understand. The way he backed out of this fight is kinda shady. Up next, when is the Paul versus Hasim Rahman Jr.? The Rahman versus Paul duel is set to take place on Saturday, the 6th of August, at Madison Square. And let's just say, things are heating up between the two. Hasim has publicly called Jake out for being a hypocrite because he's getting paid less than half of what Jake's previous opponent, MMA fighter Paul-Woodley, was paid. And guess what? For this reason, Hasim isn't even promoting the fight, and he'd left that part to the controversial social media figure. This is a huge fight for Jake because it's the first first time he's facing off against an actual boxer, and he finally has the chance to prove all his doubters wrong. And we cannot wait. So is Tommy Fury's stance an excuse or a legit concern? Well, in our opinion, Tommy's reason is probably not entirely false. We've witnessed events like this before when foreign players weren't allowed entry to the country. Homeland Security is also famous for developing issues with foreign players' visas a few days before their game. But here's the thing, we also believe Tommy could have done more to make the fight happen. He just seemed to take the decision in stride and accept the outcome. Surely, with his influence, he could have managed to pull it off. And now, some other news. First up, Hasim Rahman Jr. accuses Jake Paul's team of outright bullying him to sign up for the fight. Hasim, on Monday's edition of the MMA Hour, said that Jake's team misled him during their talks. Previously, there have been reports that they did this by pushing him into thinking there was an interest in hiring him as a sparring partner again. Hasim also said that the coach was just waiting for an answer, and once he revealed information about his training and weight, Paul's team suddenly offered him a take-it-or-leave-it brawl with Jake. The fighter believes the whole situation was kind of shady. Next up, what were the conditions of the call? Apparently, Hasim and Paul's coach had a lengthy conversation on call. The fighter was asked how much he weighed, how he was feeling about his last fight, and what kind of training he's been getting at the gym. Halfway through the conversation, he was offered the opportunity, and once he considered his choices, he saw the chance to face Jake as a good thing. He further added that despite the huge pressure surrounding the fight, he requested only a few hours to consider his options, but Paul's team gave him little to no time to think it through. Instead, he was only offered about 45 minutes. Towards the end of the call, poor Hasim was literally threatened. They told him if he failed to accept the offer, he'd never get the opportunity to be in the same ring as Jake Paul again. Yikes! And finally, Jake trolls Hasim. On Instagram, Paul trolled his upcoming opponent with a strange clip that he shared from a hospital bed. In the clip, he says, "So guys, I'm at the hospital. I had an accident." But in the same video, he promises that he's still gonna show up for the August 6th match. And towards the end of the video, he claimed he broke his back from carrying all the promotions for the event. Again, as we said before, this is happening because Hasim isn't getting paid enough and he's refused to promote the fight. We have to say, we're super excited to see what happens on August 6th. We don't know who will come out on top, but one thing is certain, it'll be a spectacle. And that's a wrap for this video. So what are your thoughts on Tommy's reason for calling it off? Do you think he's lying? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.